The pj-fleck-show is presented by Window Concepts and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union.
Our how is everything. How you do something matters. Culture, how, next-time mentality. That better be first.
The pj-fleck-show starts now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another season of the pj-fleck-show. Joined, as always, by the head coach of Gopher-football, PJ Fleck, alongside former Gophers wide receiver Ron Johnson, KFAN's Justin Guard. I'm Pierre Nugent. The Gophers fell just short in their season opener against North Carolina. 19-17 was the final against the Tar Heels. PJ, now that you've had a chance to break down the film, I know we had a chance to talk post-game. You said to me specifically, I got to look at the film first, Pierre, give me a second. But now that you had a chance to check out the film, what kind of stands out from that game? You guys had a chance to win it at the end.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, but I wasn't discouraged. Watching the film, those are two really good football teams going at it. It's almost like looking in a mirror. I think I talked about that after the game. It was who was going to make less mistakes. And when you look at it, they had their chances to win. We had our chances to win. Who was going to be able to have the ball last and be able to put it away? And we had the ball last and just didn't execute. There wasn't one play that lost us that game, but we had plenty of opportunities to go win that football game. And North Carolina's probably saying the exact same thing on their other side. It was such a close match. After the first two possessions, I kind of said to myself, said to our strength coach, first one of 20 wins this football game. It was that type of football game. We let up too many sacks on the offensive line, too much pressure, but we could say the same thing on the other side with North Carolina. I think two really good defenses that were both pretty new, going head-to-head, a lot of new things to adjust to. Once we settled in, I thought we played pretty well, and I think it was two teams feeling each other out. They executed a little bit better than we executed in some critical moments.
And when you talk about sacks, you brought that up. And so looking at the sacks for the game, I mean, as a receiver, we know sometimes it's coverage. Sometimes it's guys ran the wrong route. Sometimes it's a guy just got beat at the line of scrimmage, and that's what football is about. How do you have Max as a quarterback and the offensive coordinator say, hey, here's ways where maybe we can get a little bit more time to get rid of the ball or speed the game up?
Well, I think it's a combination of what the defense is doing. We didn't run any wrong routes or anything like that. It's being able to see the whole field, being able to get extra time. Sometimes when he gets sacked, right when you get to the back of your drop, he's got somebody in his face, somebody gets beat one-on-one, as you just saw in that picture. It doesn't matter what you call in that position, the ball's not getting out of his hand. So we had a few of those, but I thought our offensive line hung in there, played tough. There were a lot of different looks, a lot of unique looks. They're a really good football team. We provided a ton of pressure on their quarterbacks as well. But it's being able to move the pocket, mix up the certain plays. I thought we did a good job of that. I thought Max did a good job of running with the football as well when he did get pressured. But it's a combination of everything. It's not going to always be perfect and pretty. They're wanting to do the same things we're wanting to do, and that's, force people to punt, create pressure, put on the quarterback, create different looks that create confusion, and do everything you can to get you off your platform.
Thursday was our first extended look at your new quarterback, Max Brosmer. You've gotten to see him since he got here, basically bowl week, right, in Detroit at Ford Field, spring ball, fall camp, the whole bit. What'd you see from your quarterback? You mentioned after the game you thought he really settled in after that first quarter.
Yeah, after the first quarter, I thought that's exactly what I've been seeing all training camp long. He's a great leader. He's a tremendous competitor. I think everybody saw his heart and his spirit. I think it took a quarter to be able to settle in. I think it took their guy about a quarter to settle in. He's a really talented player. He threw for 62% still, and people sit there and said, well, okay, we didn't play very well. Still threw for 62%. He's got a lot on his plate, and he can have a lot on his plate with the mic IDs and the protections and switching the plays and getting us to the right play and checks and alerts. He can handle all that, and you can see our offense in the huddle position. A lot of different things that we did last year. Maybe to the naked eye, it looks the same. It's very different than what we were doing in a lot of situations. So I think he handled that really well. I thought in the second half he played like he's capable of playing.
Special teams played a big role in Thursday's game. The first quarter, when you're going for punts, you have two illegal procedure penalties. Dragan misses 2 field goals. Uncharacteristic type day, really, for Dragan Kesich. Do we chalk that up as just an off day, and what needs to be cleaned up in terms of the penalties on special teams? Yeah,
the penalty, we just have to move up. Our helmet needs to be able to cross the belt line of the guys with us, and we felt like we were, and they felt we weren't, and then we moved them up, and we still weren't up far enough, and we'll be up far enough now, I promise. But I thought we were to begin with, but that's okay. But the missed field goals, I mean, if everybody was 100% and everything was guaranteed, right, then there wouldn't be any suspense in college football. And even in the National Football League. Dragon's been one of the most reliable players on this football team, not just as a kicker, but as a football player. And unfortunately, and the game came down to one play, right, at the very end. But there are a bunch of one plays that led up to that as well. We had plenty of opportunities to win the football game, put the football game away. North Carolina had plenty of opportunities to put the game away. It's not a game. It's not a play that wins or loses you the game. It just happens to be the last one that gives you the chance to win or lose the game. And but we could have been way better in a lot of areas on offense, defense, and special teams. But he's done a great job of bouncing back.
And when you look at Marcus Majors, coming out party, everybody gets to see him 73 yards rushing and a touchdown. What did you think of his game?
I thought he played really well. I think he's only going to play better and get better with the more he plays. I thought he was outstanding at Oklahoma. I thought he showed a lot of balance, toughness, ran behind his pads, the ability to explode, the ability to short area quickness, get the hard, tough yards. And he's only going to continue to improve as he runs behind our offensive line. Once we were able to get Darius back too and be able to mix them in there along with JoJo, I think that's going to help everybody with a fresh back on the field all the time. And we got to get to that point. But I think he did a great job even in pass pro. He's really smart. He's really intelligent. And he's a tough football player.
And how close is Darius to coming back? He made that.
He's really close. He was really, really close for this game. I don't make those decisions about who plays and who doesn't. I don't make the decisions on who practices and who doesn't. Our trainers and our medical staff do, and he was really close for this game. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to play. But hopefully he's back here soon.
First night with Corey Heatherman, your defensive coordinator as well. Two-part question. What's it like having the coordinator on the field again like he has? It's been a few years. Joe Rossi liked to be up in the booth. I thought that was an interesting twist. And kind of how did everything go mechanically with him?
Well, there was a few times, when we were on defense, when I had Coach Rossi here, he's always up in the box, so I'd always meet the defense, and we all huddle up first. And there's times where I kind of went in there and he was already having his meeting. I was like, all right, well, I don't need to have the meeting. I don't have to organize that. Take a number, stand in line, But I think that was really good for our defense to feel his presence on the field. I think there's a lot of coordinators in the NFL that stay on the field. He sees the game really well. Whether he's up in the box or whether he's on the field, he prefers being down on the field. And I always give our coordinators the choice. Where do you feel best? You got to be able to do it. You got to be able to call the plays. You got to be able to make the adjustments. You got to be able to see it. And he sees the game really well down on the field, and I think the players feel his presence down on that field a lot.
Staying with the defense, throughout the majority of his career here at the University of Minnesota, I don't know if I've ever seen a player have a knack for being around the ball like Justin Wally. He had a big interception for you in the game, set up a short touchdown for you guys. What is it about his just ability to just be around the football the way he does?
Well, the NFL scouts ask me all the time, what's the best thing about him on the field? And I said, he's just a football player. I think one of the best compliments you can get as a player is you're a football player. I think that encompasses a lot of things. Your toughness, the crack on your shoulder, your willingness, your competitiveness, the ability to make plays, the love and joy for the game. Antoine Winfield Jr. is a football player. He loves playing the game. Justin Wally is a football player. He loves playing the game, and he's always around the ball. He catches the ball like a wide receiver. He's really smart. He's really intelligent. He's tough. He can tackle well. And some of the biggest games we've had, he's made some of the biggest plays. And this is one of the harder catches you're going to probably see. And he just makes it look routine. And he's such a great kid. And we're just thankful we have him, and he's on our team.
And going into week 2, this is a game that everybody can watch the film and say, you know what? We did everything we could do to win this game. And like you said, there are always 1 or 2 plays coaches are going to watch, offense and defense, and say, hey, if you did this, maybe this changes. But what's the message going into week 2 now?
Well, the message was be a goldfish.
Okay.
Be a goldfish. Have you ever watched Ted Lasso?
No. I watched it.
Who am I asking? Have you ever watched Ted Lasso?
You're watching the wrong stuff on that.
This guy was at our game and didn't even watch our game. He was
at
the game.
He's
Ron Johnson. He's got a lot of commitments.
I stood next to Ricky Foggy for about 2 quarters. I was there. I was in the booth with Daryl Thompson.
Shooting the breeze with everybody. What happened?
I was
that's why he's watching the Cliff Notes. Okay, I'm just kidding. Be a goldfish. Ted Lasso talks about, a guy comes up to him and he's really anxious about a play, and he says, sorry, coach, and all these things. And Ted Lasso looks at him and says, just be a goldfish. And the guy looks at him just like you looked at me, like, what are you talking about? Goldfish are the happiest animals on the planet because they have a 10-second memory. And that's the point of it. You've got to be able to flush it. No pun intended there. But you got to be able to let it go, and you got to be able to move on. And there's so much to learn from game 1. And I'm a firm believer in you don't learn the most from game 1 to game 2. There's an old saying in coaching, you grow the most from game 1 to game 2.
So Dory the Explorer is what you're saying.
That's not a goldfish, though.
Different
fish.
Similar.
Same thing.
Similar.
I don't know what kind of fish that was.
Yeah.
I just know that Ted Lasso taught me the goldfish part.
Yeah.
But we want to be able to have that short memory. We brought him in on the Friday for a reason. We were able to watch the film, get everything right with them, then go apply it to Rhode Island as we started it on Friday afternoon and got right on the film. So they were eager to practice. We had a great practice today. I thought they were at practice tremendous. So that's the whole message. Be 1-0 in the Rhode Island season, period. We were 0-1 in the North Carolina season. That was it. Period. Can't do anything about it. We can learn all this stuff and go apply it.
You're kind of like a goldfish. You have
Be
to
Dory.
You have to be reminded every week what time the show starts.
Be Dory.
So that's pretty similar.
Did you say
to what
Dory
he's
or
talking-
Dora?
Dory. So I said
I just
Dory
wanted
the
to-
Explorer, and then Lori corrected me
I just wanted to get
that
it.
it's Dory from Nemo. I knew it. I combined two things together.
Get it straight. You know, we only talk about the hard-hitting stuff here on the PJ Fleck Show.
It's a kid-friendly show. I mean,
Absolutely.
kids are watching this.
7:30 on
confused
Fox
right
9 Plus now.
I like that though. Be Dory. That's what I
That's-
tell my daughter when she's on the mound pitching. now.
It's a
Be
good
Dory.
idea, no doubt about it. We have so much more to talk about here on the PJ Fleck Show. When we come back, we'll be joined by one of the star members of the defense. Cody Lindenberg sits on set with us when we come back on the PJ Fleck Show.
You're watching the PJ Fleck Show.
Welcome back into the PJ Fleck Show, everybody. Joined now by a special guest here on set. Linebacker Cody Lindenberg joins the show. Cody, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate you joining the show. When you're looking at the film now, we were talking with PJ in the previous segment. You've had a chance to look at the film. You've had a chance to kind of review the game. You guys were so close. The game was absolutely right there for you guys to win. How frustrating was it kind of looking back on that game tape, knowing that it was just some little details here and there that were the difference in the game?
Certainly. It's also exciting though when you look back at it and see all the things that we may not have done well, but we were still that close, like you said, to winning that game. So it's exciting, and it's another opportunity for us to go back, watch that film, see what we did well and see what we didn't do as well, so we can get better at what we did do well, and then fix what we didn't do as well, and then get ready for another 1-0 championship season against Rhode Island this week. So I just think it's a good way for us to look at it as an opportunity to continue to get better each week.
So to use the extra time of the Labor Day weekend to continue to forward that message, because I'd look at it and go, man, I want to play. We got to wait till the week. It's not a Saturday to Saturday bit. You've got to wait a couple extra days to get back out there.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, again, it gives us more time to prepare, watch film, get our bodies back. Guys are in the treatment, hot tubs, cold tubs, eating right, doing all that good stuff. So it just gives us another opportunity, 1 or 2 extra days to really make sure that we're feeling best as we can.
PJ, Cody had a tough season last season injury-wise. I know, Cody, for you it was very frustrating, but how tough was it for you watching him kind of battle the injuries, knowing that he wanted to be out there? How tough is that for a coach, watching one of your players having it really tough for him to get back out?
It's the hardest thing as a coach and even as a parent when you watch your kids struggle with something, whether it's homework or whether it's getting picked on or whether it's getting hurt. Watching your own kids, right, our own kids, struggle, and then watching your players struggle, it feels the exact same way. I mean, it just rips your heart out. You watch how these guys work since January and all the investment that goes in, and then one thing can take away all the things they've worked hard for. But that's the greatest life teacher. And football's the greatest game because it teaches them so much about life. You can do all the things right, and you can do everything the right way, and you still might not get what you want, right? But it's going to be able to teach you a lesson that might be able to get you somewhere where you want to be next time. Might, still not guaranteed. Right. And I think that's what makes football very unique. And he was, I give him a lot of credit because it was a hard year for him. But the way he just continued to respond, how positive he was, and just there was always a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that takes a lot of character to be able to do that, and a lot of courage to think that way. And I'm just proud he's one of our leaders.
Had you been through a season like that before, Cody, where it was, and that one was so unique because how many times did you think you were coming back and then you just weren't able to?
Yeah, no, especially with those sort of things. There's days where, you feel really good, but maybe like, hey, athletic training staff, maybe we're gonna hold you back a little bit today, and then vice versa. Hey, I don't feel so good, but like, hey, we're gonna get you going today. So it's a little bit of that back and forth mental battle between your mind and body. So But just like Coach Fleck said, it's a way to prepare myself for anything else that we got coming in the future. So I think I was able to, improve in many aspects just outside the field. Because obviously I can't be on the field and I'm hurt. So it's in the classroom, in the film room, allowing myself to learn, how other guys learn best, how I can help coach them, whether it's on the field with a coaching point or off the field learning, certain schemes, certain tips with formation. So all those sort of things, it was able to, really boost my level of, how I'm able to see certain things.
After the game, I remember you were asked what you said to Dragan Kesich after the game, and it stood out to me because I remember you saying immediately, you said, "I love you." How important, I should ask, really, was it for you to kind of set that tone for the rest of the team to say right here and right now, hey, it's just one game, like PJ was saying, it's not just one play, for you to kind of set that tone for the rest of the team for Dragan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not one play, it's not one player. There's many things, like you said, that played out through the game that could have changed the course of the game, could have changed the outcome. So it's not just that one missed kick, it's missed tackles, it's drop balls, it's not executing here, not executing there, and it's a way for us to really show to the rest of the team and even whoever might be watching that it's not about that one player that had a mistake in that one play, because again, so many other things could have went right to not have that situation occur. But it did. But you have to let your teammate know that we're all there for you, and it's not your fault that we had this outcome. So it just really was important to me to set that tone for one of my best friends in the field and outside of this building. So that was just, I thought it was super important to get that message across.
PJ, obviously we can just hear it right there. It's good to have Cody in the building regardless of if he's playing or not. But what's it like having him back out there on the field for this defense?
It's fun and easy to coach guys who love football. I mean, it's not hard to coach this guy. You learn so much from him by how he prepares and how he plays and his love for the game. You can't replace that. And I think that's what he's done a great job is spreading that amongst his teammates. This team, I've said before, there's not been many teams that I've had here that aren't really fun to coach. This team is really fun to coach because they love football. They love being together. They love being on the field. But that doesn't promise you're going to win every single game, and you're going to make every kick, and you're going to make every tackle, you're going to make every throw. That's not football. The ball is not round. There's going to be a lot of things that happen that you can't control. But to watch them come together in really difficult situations is what I saw all offseason. And I knew that they were going to respond really well, and they'll respond really well this week. I know they will. They have in practice because of their leadership and how they've been able to come together and take on the things that are happening to them in a really good way and things that are really hard and tough.
Well, Cody, we're certainly happy to see you back healthy. I'm sure a lot happier with seeing you on the football field, no doubt about that. And we continue health and success the rest of the way. Appreciate you taking the time. Cody Lindenberg, everybody. We'll be back with so much more on the PJ Fleck Show. When we come back, we'll discuss this weekend's opponent, the Rams of Rhode Island. We'll break them down when we come back.
Welcome back to the PJ Fleck Show.
Welcome back to the PJ Fleck Show, everybody. Time now to turn our attention to this weekend's opponents. It's the Rams of Rhode Island. And PJ, when you study them on tape, pretty dramatic victory for them against Holy Cross in the opening week of the season for them. What stands out to you when you study the Rams on film?
Yeah, how hard they play on offense. They've got a great quarterback who's really dynamic. He's a Virginia Tech transfer. He's got escapability and mobility, and he can move around the pocket. He's got a really good arm. He led them on a huge drive in the last minute to go win the football game and score a touchdown. They're going to be doing everything they can, riding off of a win, and come in here. And I'm sure they're not going to blink at all. They're going to come in here with the thought process they're going to win the football game, and we got to be at our best. I mean, this is the last play of the game, and that's a heck of a play, run and catch, especially with only a few seconds left.
And when you look at, the end of the North Carolina game, expected quarterback change, unexpected quarterback change, now mobile quarterback, you have another one coming up. How much did that end of that game prepare you guys for Rhode Island?
Yeah, I mean, we always, during training camp, during spring ball, you're always preparing for running quarterbacks. You have different style defenses. You have different calls that you really like. But this kid's really dynamic. I mean, you take your eyes off of him and he's gone. We've got to make sure we do a really good job of condensing that pocket. And again, hopefully putting some pressure on him, but you can't just put pressure on him, as you can see. He gets out of that pocket pretty quick, and he becomes a runner and a running back really fast.
One of the cool parts about this show is we get to meet a lot of your players. We just met Cody, obviously. The whole country got to meet Casey O'Brien in 2019. And I don't want the holiday weekend to kind of make us forget what Casey announced last week, that he's going through some more cancer treatments. He put out a GoFundMe, and shocking, like $500,000 was raised in like 2 days. I assume you've talked to him. I assume you've checked in with him. Just kind of give us an update on his spirits and how you think he's doing.
Yeah, I talk to him pretty much every day or every other day. We have great conversations. We really don't talk about his illness or sickness. We don't talk about that a lot. We just talk about stuff. We talk about memories. We talk about things that we did here. We just talking about what's on his mind, what happened throughout his days, going back and forth between work and everything. But I think what shows, what's amazing about Casey is he did so much for other people while he was battling and beat cancer so many times. And he raised money, $1 million for his fund at the Children's Hospital. And when he needed it the most, within 24 hours, he had what he needed.
Right.
That shows the power of people. There's so much negativity in our world and so many reasons why people aren't doing something or can't do something, and that's what's being reported on. What is amazing, there is so much good in this world, and it shows in moments like this. And Casey is the ultimate connector. He's an amazing human being. We all need to rally around him and keep praying for him, because he's in a tough fight right now, and maybe one of the toughest of his life. And he needs our thoughts and prayers before you go to bed.
We got a little less than a minute to go, but just watching that tape back, I believe that game was at Rutgers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Just watching that tape back, do you remember the emotions that were flowing through you in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, you feel them like they were yesterday. Casey's just he's a really, really special kid. And I should say young man. And he's a member of this football team, always will be. He's a member of this community and the state. I think everybody in the state, when you say Casey O'Brien, knows his name and knows what he's done and how Casey has inspired their family. Casey O'Brien, I promise you, hasn't not affected one family in the state of Minnesota. He's affected us all somehow, some way, in a positive way, and he needs us right now. And we need to be there for him as much as we possibly can be. Keeping him in your thoughts and prayers, and everything you can to be able to support him on his GoFundMe.
No doubt about it. And Casey, if you're watching, we all wish you very well wishes here on the PJ Fleck Show. We'll see you next week, everybody, for more of the PJ Fleck Show.